All right, welcome. Again, I am Jacques Demal, the Collection Management Librarian and Subject Specialist for History. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about some basics for searching for history-related books and articles in the UVU library. So I am, once again, going to share my screen with you. And that should take us to the library website. And we are going to look in the library OneSearch section, and we're going to use this tool to search for books and articles. And I'm going to keep my search really simple. I'm going to start with suffrage because 2020 was the 100-year anniversary of the amendment that granted women the right to vote in the United States. And so I have done my search for suffrage, and as you would expect from a search engine, I get a long list of results. And it tells me right off the bat that I got 94,875 results. And sometimes when you do a search, you'll get this research starter. And this is just a link to an encyclopedia entry on the topic. And you're welcome to use those if you want. They can be a nice place to get some background information before you start into the actual research. And then if I scroll down, you can see we're getting a variety of results. These first few are ebooks, and you can tell that by just that ebook right there. And if I scroll down farther, here's a print book, and here's a video, some more books. Here's a periodical article, another book, and some videos. And so I hope you are seeing right off the bat that all of our results take this same basic format. You'll get the title of the work, you'll get the author and some publishing information. There'll be some subject terms. On the left, you'll usually see an icon, sometimes of the cover of the work. Then you'll get a little line that tells you what kind of format the work is in, and then you should find some links to the work in our database. Okay. So let's look at this ebook to start with. I'm going to click on the title of that. That will take me into a more detailed record for the book. So there's the title, there's the series name, there's the author, there's a description, there's some subject terms down here, some information that librarians get really excited about, but you guys can probably just ignore. And then there's some, actually farther down here, we've got a table of contents and some little snippets from the book, just to whet your appetite. And then on the left, you'll see this PDF full text link. And when I click on that, it will take me into a screen reader where I can read the book. And so there's the cover. So we can page forward down here. Sometimes it takes a little while for the pages to move. On the left, you'll see the table of contents. And so if we wanted to jump into chapter 5, we could do that. So now we're at chapter 5. You will notice this full download link up here. Let me just caution you to not do that unless you ask us for help beforehand. There are some tricks to that, and if you do it in the wrong order, it can get a little messy. All right, you'll also notice some tools up here. One of the cool things with ebooks is you've got this search within feature, so you can look for particular terms here. So we could do for something like Stanton. And then you can see that the word is found in 18 places. And you can go, oh, well, let's see what we've got here on page 15. There's Stanton, and so on. Go back to the table of contents. You'll also see this email pages link up here. This is really cool. You can specify which pages you would like it to send you. Just drop your email address in over here. Those are my email addresses. Put a subject in so it doesn't go in your spam folder, and then send yourself the email as a PDF. And so you can send yourself the pages you're interested in. Don't have to worry about refinding the book later on. Then you can just keep those pages until you're tired of them. You will notice there's a page limit. You can send yourself 100 pages. Generally, that's more than enough for any particular book. You usually don't want the whole thing. You're happy with just sections from the book. That number is set through negotiations with the publisher. We don't have any control over that. I've seen some zeros, I've seen hundreds, I've seen whole books, I've seen 20. It's just very dependent on the publisher and what they want to let us do. So that's just a quick look at ebooks. We have a variety of vendors, so sometimes they won't look exactly like that, but the general formatting and how they function is basically the same. Going back to the result list, scrolling down until I find a regular book. I'm going to click on that title, and on this record, you can see it's just a little bit different. You still got the publishing information and the subject terms, and there's some content notes and an abstract. These will all depend on individual books. They'll all look a little different. Some will have more information, some will have less. But on the left-hand side, you'll see where the book is located. In this case, it's in the Fulton Library regular collection on our bookshelves on the 4th floor. And this call number, this JK 1896.A542020, that's the unique call number assigned to this book, and that tells you where to find it on the shelf. If you have any trouble using those, just ask somebody in the library for help. We have staff on every floor. Just walk up and say, hey, can you please help me find this book? I've got this call number and I don't know how to use it. We'll be glad to show you how they work and how to use them. With a little practice, you should have no trouble using those call numbers to find books. They're really pretty straightforward once you get the hang of them. All right, back to the result list and scrolling down. Next up, we have a video recording, and in this case, it looks like it's an online recording. And so here, if we come in and click on the play video, it will open up a window that will look a bit like YouTube, where you can view this film. And so this is from National Geographic in 2006, something about women's suffrage. There's the play button. You will usually get a transcript for these, so you can read along as you go if you want. And there'll be some other cool features in here if you want to poke around and experiment a bit. Back to the result list. There is an academic journal article. I'm going to click on this one. Again, this is going to look a little bit different, but again, title, author, publishing info. So this is from Utah Historical Quarterly. Got some subject terms, an abstract. That abstract is going to be a summary of the article. A lot of times you'll be doing research and looking through hundreds, if not thousands of articles, and you just don't have the time to read all of that. And so the abstract is a quick way to get a sense of what the article is about and then decide if you actually want to read it. Great time-saving tool. Over here on the left, you'll see that PDF link again, so I'm going to click on that. So here is a PDF copy of the article, just as it appeared in the journal. All right, you can see you've got the whole thing there, including pictures and page numbers, and there's the notes, and there's a copyright page, but you've got all that available to you. And then you are welcome to download these or print these out if you like. You can see there's a little download icon right there, and there is a little printer icon right there. Use these rather than using the tools in your browser to download or print. The browser tools will often try to print the entire web page or save the entire web page, and that can get really messy. These icons will print out or save just the PDF, which is what you're interested in. I'm going to back up again to the information page, and then I'm going to draw your attention over here to the right-hand side of the page. And there's a couple of tools over here that are really handy. This first one, email. If I click on that, that opens up this little window, and you can see you can put your email address in there and throw in a little subject line, hit send, and it will send you this information, and as long as that's checked, it will attach the PDF to that email. So as you're finding articles, you can just email them to yourself, and save them in a folder somewhere on your computer or in your email. And that's a great way to organize and save your research so that when it comes time to write the paper, it's all just in one nice place and you can access it with ease. The next tool over here is like the magic button. This says Cite. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to scroll through this list, and you can see there's APA, there is Chicago, there is Chicago again, there is MLA. So the major citation styles used on campus are right here. And this article has been cited in those formats. And so for history, the history classes generally use the Chicago Turabian Humanities style citation. And so here is that citation for you. You're welcome to copy that and just highlight that. Copy it over into your paper or a running bibliography. You're welcome to do that. I will caution you that sometimes there are errors in here, and this one has a really obvious one. The author's name in this citation is all caps. You really don't want that. Your instructor will mark you down for that. So just watch for things like that and fix them. The rest of this looks okay. And then I will just add that this URL that's added here, some instructors like that. I have not talked to any on the UVU campus who care, so you're welcome to delete that unless your instructor says don't. It's optional information, so the citation builder puts it in there, but it's not really that important. Okay, people get pretty excited about that when they see it, but I'm going to show you something even more exciting. I'm going to go back up here to email. And again, if you put your email address in, it will send you the PDF and it will send you this information by default. But if you tell it, you know what, send me the Chicago Humanities style citation, the email itself will just be the citation with the PDF attached. So you can build your bibliographies by just emailing yourself the citations, and they're all just waiting for you in your email. And I'm going to back up out of there. And just make a quick note that for the books, you still have that citation function. It will do that for you for these as well. These will be a little bit screwy, so just make sure to double check these and make sure nothing funky is going on before you use those in your paper. All right, so those are just the real basic overview of what you will find when you do a search. We've got that 94,000 results. That's just way too much. And I think you're probably noticing that this is a really big topic and there's lots of different ways you can look at it. So there are some ways we can focus our search. There's a variety of those just right here on the left. You can see we've got some limiters. It's very basic ones. One of the most obvious is date. For subjects other than history, professors generally prefer more recent information. So if you're in a class like that, you can say, you know what, I don't want books from the 1760s. I would really rather have stuff from, say, the last 10 years, maybe 5 years, or even 3 years. And so you can limit your search that way. And we're still at 55,000 results, almost 56,000, and that's primarily because we've only been around for 13 years, so most of our collection is really pretty current. But all of these results should be from the last 10 years. You can also limit to just books that are in print, or if I scroll down here to source type, show more, you can say, well, you know what, I want ebooks and books, and maybe you can throw in some academic journal articles and do that kind of results. And so you can mix and match your results, and now we've got this kind of more academic scholarly works from the last 10 years. Instead of 94,000, we're down to 10,000, and so we're getting into a much more manageable numbers now. I'm going to clear all those just to go back to our basic 94,000. All right, so back to our base search for suffrage, our 95,000 results. You've got these basic limiters, you've got the date, you've got source types. There are a few more down here that you can play with and experiment with as you like. Let's just focus on the peer-reviewed journals for the moment. Most of your research outside of history will focus on peer-reviewed journals, so I'm going to spend a little extra time here. History is more of a monograph-driven subject, so you'll want to spend more time with books. Let's just look through these. I want to find a few different kinds of things you're going to find here. So here's one that says full text finder. It doesn't have that. You see how this one has PDF? This one just says full text finder. So I'm going to click on that link. And that takes me to this page, and that's, oh man, that didn't work. But there's a little link up here. So if this page kind of doesn't work for you, just click on that. Let's see if we can kick that in the butt. There we go. And so there is the article. Okay, and you can see this looks quite a bit different. That's because this is from a different database and collection. All right, but you can see you've still got the article, you've still got the PDF. There are still some tools here for citations and for emailing these things. You've all got all those same features. They just look a bit different. I'm going to back up out of those screens and then just note that OneSearch, our basic search engine up here, is a tool that sits on top of many, many different databases. And some of those databases, like this one, just plug right into OneSearch, and when there's full text available, they just show right up. Some of the other databases, like this one, don't plug into OneSearch as well, just for technical reasons. And in those cases, we have this full text finder link that tries to jump that gap, that technical gap, and gets you to the article that you're actually interested in. Okay, so when you see those, don't panic or get too flustered. Just click on that link and see what happens. There will be times when we only have access to the citation, and the abstract and the full text is just not available to us. In those cases, open up the library website again and remind you that we have this interlibrary loan service. So if you find a book or an article that you want, just remember we can get it for you even if we don't have it. All right. So we are back at suffrage. We're looking at our peer-reviewed journals. We've still got about 20,000 results. I'm going to take that peer-reviewed off, so we're back to our base search of 94,000 results. There we go. And I think you're noticing we're getting lots of different kinds of results here. A lot of these are US, but there's a lot of Wales. Maybe you're not so interested in Welsh history. Maybe not so much in British history. So we can try and focus our search additionally by adding ideas to the search. So I'm going to type and I'm going to type that in capital letters so it looks different. So you can see that it's something special and it's doing something for you. And I'm just going to type America. That way we're going to look at suffrage in the United States. And we've gone from 94,000 results to about 11,000 results. And now I think you can see there's the word suffrage and there's the word America. So that "and" is telling the search engine, look for articles or books, entries that have the word suffrage, the word America, and only show me those that have both. Okay. So this is a really, really powerful tool for focusing your search onto the subject that you're interested in. It's really difficult to come up with a subject that can be summed up in one word. And so usually you should be able to think of 2 or 3 or even 4 or 5 words that will help focus your search. And so 11,000, that's still a lot of results. We can add another term, and we might do, let's do women, because suffrage includes people other than women. Now we're down to about 4,000. Still a lot, but getting more manageable. But I think you can see that you can just keep adding terms and focusing that search, and you can keep going until the search breaks. At some point you will get no results, or like 2 or 3 results, and that's obviously not sufficient for your research. They might be good results, they might just be totally off topic entirely. So you can just keep experimenting with different terminology here as you go. On that idea, thinking about different terms, one of the things you can do is look through the titles and the subject terms that you're seeing and see if maybe there is some other ideas here that you could throw into your search. So you might try something like suffrage movement as a search. Let me see if there's any other ideas here. I'm not seeing it here, but another possibility would be something like women's movement, women's rights, women in voting. So you can try a variety of different terms and see how, there we go, women in the vote. See how those searches play out as you experiment. You might find you get slightly different results for different changes in terminology. And that's going to be a big part of your searching, is just playing with different terms to pull up different results and get closer and closer to your topic. All right, and on that subject, remember you've got librarians here who can help you, and there are ways to contact us here. One of the things that librarians have spent a lot of time and education and practice on is coming up with ways to structure your searches, different kinds of terms you can use to find things. And so if you're struggling with the searches and trying to get good information out of the databases, that's a great time to contact us and say, hey, you know what, I've got this subject and I just don't seem to be able to find any results. Can you give me a hand? And we'll go, absolutely, we'd love to give you a hand. And we'll help you figure that out and get you going on the right track. And we will just be happy as clams, and you guys will wander off going, wow, I should have thought of that before. And you will all be happy. Okay, so that is the basics of doing searching in the Fulton Library. There's a lot more things I could talk about, but that should get you started. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to say thanks for hanging in there with me, and good luck on your searches, and have a great day.